My history dance started out in Cleveland, Ohio. Started with my father and my uncles teaching me dance movements from the world of hip hop. I started digging into my passion in high school when it comes to dancing. Started off doing hip hop first, got into the world of clown dancing, and then from clown dancing got into the world of crump. And that style's coming from California. And so as time went by, I started taking seriously the world of like popping, locking, a lot of movements from the 1970s and 80s. The style and the culture I was diving into already. But what I wanted to do as an artist was the biggest conversation I had to deal with. And Columbus really was a place where I was like, I'm in this culture, but what do I do as an artist now? And that's what Columbus made me ask myself. It's like, what do you want to do down on with the dance? What I'm creating now as an artist is, one, as a choreographer. I'm diving into being a choreographer and a director of my work on a theater stage. I have always done dance competitions, talent shows, but now storytelling, and not me performing, but me being a director. And that's the world I'm getting into. As a solo artist, I still perform, I freestyle, but now I'm diving into this world of seeing my vision come to life on a theatrical stage with lighting production, sound effects, audio, and the costumes. So now that's my world now, and I'm living in with what I already know as a street dancer. And I'm like, okay, now production is my world I'm getting into. That's my next stage as an artist, is that world. The one major thing that's so important to me is I take time to just move my body. And when I move my body, I'm also thinking about what I'm feeling, which will help me direct the choreography. I'm thinking about like what color schemes that I see if I was on stage. And now I have to see it, what it looks like on another artist and another cast member. So the process is dancing through the movement that's actually pure, feeling the music, make sure that's connecting, and then what does the world look like on that stage? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it blue, purple? So I play through that. So now it takes me to the stage of writing. So now I have to write it, draw it up, sketch it out, try to filter it first within me, and then when I'm ready to present it, then I let like my mentors and people that I trust look at my vision. That's gonna help me find a balance to make it a beautiful production. I Am Dance stands for I am determined and never concealing energy. That philosophy came from a friend who was a professional artist, rapper, and poet here in Columbus. And he was like, Donald, when you talk about it, it made me come up with those words. So to this day, I always see him and I would say thank you, because I needed help to filter what I was feeling inside. And it took another artist to be able to compliment and be like, hey, I can help you. So I am determined and never concealing energy. It's about being someone that doesn't conceal themselves, especially as a dancer. Like, never hold back what you actually feel, acknowledge what you feel, and go through the channel of movement to really get it out. Right now, the focus of I Am Dance is we are rebranding for our movement so we can be able to understand what's happening now in the world as creators. And especially as dancers, we're trying to understand. So this has been a time for me to be able to be thankful for the past 14 to 15 years of I Am Dance, but to be able to tell the people in the community, this is the next stage we're gonna go to make sure that the voices are heard through our company. And that's my biggest goal right now, is to make sure they know that we recognize, acknowledge what has been going on, and now we wanna put that through our brand. My first time going to Cuba was like time traveling. As soon as you get off the plane, it's like I went back to the 1950s. And it really made me be in a very, very interesting place that I think I'd never been. And so getting there and just seeing the people, seeing the community, and seeing the old school cars drive by, it was like I was time traveling, but I was time traveling learning about their story, about what happened. So it did take me through like a very emotional roller coaster, because I didn't know how to take it. And I think the community of Cuba was telling me, that was like, Donald, no matter what happened here, we're not going to stop loving each other. And so I felt family there. I felt a connection there because I didn't feel disconnected. I felt like I was connecting with family I never met before. And that was the one thing that they was teaching me, was like, no matter what we're going through and what we're standing for, we still have this love. So the music and the dance was like even more intensity, meaning more powerful than I have ever witnessed. So I think one of the things that's important to me that even my teachers in my life, just in art, was never forget why we do this. No matter where you at in this world, don't forget why you teach, don't forget why you learn what you do, because our job is to take this art and education and pass it down. So I felt like it was my duty to make sure when I seen the students to know that I'm not just here to just show off my skills in dancing. It was for me to exchange with you, to learn what you are teaching me, because teachers can still learn from the student. And it's like, when are we not a student in life? So that connection happened where even when I'm teaching a workshop, it was like when we got done, I asked questions because I wanted to learn. I didn't want to assume anything. So I would ask them. So we would take the time out to laugh, joke, learn each other's humor. What's their favorite food? What's my favorite food? Style of clothes? What's the weather in this place of the world? And they would tell me all their stories, and that connection, that bond, became 3 years that I feel like is gonna keep going. And I think it was important because I think the one thing that's so important to me is that I want students to be able to trust me as a teacher, that I'm gonna do my best job that I can to give you what I have. And if I don't have it, I would do my best to learn and continue to be a student in life, to know what I need to know to be a better teacher. That means a lot to me. We see basic talks about community, but that lecture was like, you cannot forget the why. Even if some days is not bright. It's gonna be dark some days, but you cannot forget that. And it really hit me hard. It really hit me hard, even when I make work. My work can share a message for the rest of my life. I don't just need to make work because of a certain idea of a project. My work can have a mission and a story to help get the real broadcast of what's really going on in the world, or a certain moment in my life of just, or I become a dad, or I'm grieving, but you don't forget the why. So when you create with a why, no matter what you're using as a tool for your art. That was the number one thing. And I think the second thing was understanding the fight that people really have to do. And not because it's anything selfish, but that lecture, watching that teacher teach me, was like, wow, this is not about him. This is about, hey, when I'm gone, I need to make sure that my people are good. And that is what took me out, was because my grandfather has that same attitude to this day, is I'm doing this to make sure that when God called me, I know that I left a platform for y'all to keep doing what you need to do. So I make sure that that was my lesson. And I keep that in my mind now when I'm working out here. It gave me a moment to just be quiet and just take it in for a second. And I'm thankful.